My name's Jessica Dempsey. I am the Deputy Director of the East Asian Observatory, which runs the James Clerk Maxwell Telescope on Mauna Kea. As I hope you know, the Mauna Kea Observatories, which operate up on Mauna Kea every day, will always have personnel every single day who are up on the mountain, both to do night operations and also to do critical maintenance work during the day. Since Sunday, we've had nearly 24 staff who have been operating up on the mountain both at night and during the day, and they have been up there since Sunday, and whenever the conditions have been safe, they have been going up to continue operating the facility. As I hope you know too, the safety of our staff is the absolute priority for us in everything that we do up on the Mauna. In addition to that, it is the safety of everyone who is here at the moment. The fact that we have had difficulty getting consistent and safe access for our staff on the Mauna Kea access road has meant at this time we have decided to bring 25 staff from 5 different observatories that did have staff up at the Halepahaku facility down. This means that we do not have any Mauna Kea observatory staff at the moment up on the summit, and this does mean that we will be not doing any of our normal operations or any of our maintenance at this time. We hope that we only have to have our staff off the mountain for the shortest possible time, but our priority is to keep our staff safe, and we have determined that this is the only thing we can do right now to ensure that they don't have to put themselves in any sort of personal danger.
Can you expand upon what you meant by safety concerns? Are you talking about the protesters or just lack of resources up there, such as food, water, etc.?
Oh no, we've been very well taken care of, and actually one of the things that we really would like to point out is that the law enforcement that have been up here and have been providing safety for us as well as everyone here have been absolutely amazing, and we have felt incredibly protected, incredibly worked with, and we are incredibly grateful for them. Our resources up there are very comfortable. In fact, I had to sort of turf some of the people out to get us down here today. It's not a problem at all. So it is primarily with ensuring access for all our staff and getting through this part of the access road. And at this point we just decided to be proactive, and the only way we could guarantee that safety at this point was to have them come down the mountain.
Workers with Mauna Kea management say that telescopes need regular maintenance, so now they're not going to get regular maintenance. What does that really mean for you?
So the Mauna Kea observatories have millions of dollars worth of instrumentation. This isn't a camera that you can go and buy off the shelf. A lot of these are very fickle. These instruments need a lot of love and tender loving care, and often this means daily. So it is a risk and a wrench for us to have to step away to this point. It's one of the reasons why we are hoping that this does not, we do not have to extend this particular period for very long.
In 2015, someone tried to drive a truck toward one of the telescopes. Are the telescopes in general worried about their safety or a feeling of vulnerability?
At all times, we are going to make sure our staff feel safe and protected. They're our hana, they're part of this community. That is our absolute priority. But
there's no security up there. There's the Mauna Kea, the UH Rangers, but the telescopes are open, there's no fence.
There is no fence, but we do have the support of law enforcement. In any situation where we have had any incidents, law enforcement have responded to us. It's certainly something we have discussed, and going forward, that's something we'll pay attention to. And our staff are made from some tough stuff.
You've said that you fear for the safety of them. Has anyone directly been harassed or threatened by any individuals here?
Not at all. As far as I'm aware, there have been incredibly good interactions for the most part. I'm not aware, at least, of any interactions which have been in any way threatening or bad in any way.
So then, can you explain if the officers are acting in a civil way and the protesters are acting in a civil way? Why exactly you fear for the safety of anyone? Is it possible that you're scared of what may happen tomorrow when more police, National Guard, more law enforcement show up?
Not at all. It's about being precautionary, and when staff have to even just stop on a highway, we don't want to put them in that sort of situation. So at the moment it is simply a precaution, and we're helping to create a space where whatever does occur is the resources are here, and we as the Mauna Kea Observatories want to be something that helps to find a solution, not to make it any worse at all.
Has this ever happened before? Is there precedent for removing everybody, all the staff from the observatories?
We have never, as far as I'm aware, actually ever had all of our staff off the mountain in such a way before.
You talked about only a short period of time. Can you give us exactly how long you plan this? You think this is going to last?
I wish I could. As short as possible, I'm hoping.
Is there a time where that would expire, where you have to get up there, talking about maintenance, etc.?
If one of our systems goes critical, some of them are very, very delicate, and we're just going to have to cross our fingers that doesn't happen soon. But at that point, of course, we would reconsider if we could, but at this point, I can't speculate.
Many of the telescopes can be operated to some extent remotely. Would not doing so increase the lifespan of these critical systems?
Not necessarily. One of the reasons that a lot of the telescopes are choosing not to even operate remotely is that if they do fail in the evening and you have a dome open and you may have bad weather, that's a really scary situation if we can't get people up in time to fix that. So again, we are just out of an abundance of caution at this point not doing those operations.
During these negotiations between activists and law enforcement, they have asked to have one vehicle up the mountain for religious purposes, spiritual purposes. They've asked National Guard to not be here. According to them, law enforcement has said no. What is your reaction to that?
I am not going to stand here and put myself in the way of anyone's practice. I have a full respect for them and what they want to do, and that is not in any way something I can say or speak to, and it's not my job.
How does TMT, the construction of it and what it will be capable of, differ from what you guys are currently doing, and what is your thought about that?
The TMT is going to add an incredible new capability to the type of science that we can do on Mauna Kea, but it's a complementary aspect. It doesn't mean suddenly that you don't need the other telescopes on the Mauna to do the science they're doing. They complement in the most incredible ways. Some see wide, some see deep. We see in all different wavelengths. All of these things mean that the TMT adds things that right now the current capabilities of some of the telescopes can't do, but it is a complementary science, and it is really going to be an amazing addition to what the current Mauna Kea observatories are already doing.
What sort of scientific projects have been interrupted now, that all the staff has left the observatory?
We observe at all of the telescopes as for every single minute of the evenings or even into the daytime for those telescopes that can. Of course, it's always hard to give up good observing time because these telescopes are in great demand around the world. There would be dozens of projects that we observe in every single evening, so it will be hard.
You mentioned this is an unprecedented situation where all of the telescopes are now evacuated. You've evacuated for weather reasons, but it's unknown how many days this could last. At what point is there harm or risk to the equipment up there?
We will make sure that we have always got first our safety of our staff, but then the safety of our facilities and the health of our facilities in mind when we make any further decisions. At this point, though, I really can't say when that's going to be.
Well,
We're told that the opposition offered safe passage to the scientists in exchange for one vehicle going up of their own, and that was declined. What is your reaction to that, if that would have allowed you access?
This is the first time I'm hearing about the back and forth on some of those negotiations, so I really can't say.
When you hear that offer was made and you could continue to work, though, what do you feel?
Well, I'm a mother hen and I protect all my ducklings, so I'm not going to put a flavor on which ducklings I'm going to keep safe and which aren't. I just want to make sure all of our people are safe.
Is the science worth it? The Hawaiian people, many of them believe this is culturally sacred to them. This is very special to them and their kupuna and history. Is the science worth it?
I don't think that I can speak to whether we should pitting one against the other. I have a great belief that we can find a path forward that includes all of these things in this incredibly special place. And it's certainly not going to be me who has any kind of right to say one of them is more important than the other. I think they're both very precious.
Will staff still be paid even though they're not working?
Absolutely.
So you have no one at the observatories right now, is that correct?
At the summit facilities, there is no one.
And every one of the observatories is shut down with no observations, is that right?
For this evening, the summit facilities will not be doing anything, including remote observation. We'll be making other decisions on remote observing and other things at a later time.
Are there still staff at Haleipahako?
Mauna Kea Observatory staff? No, there is not.
How many people are normally on the summit on a normal workday?
It can vary. There can be at least a couple of dozen, but up to 50.
Given that the only people who are carrying weapons are actually the police officers, who are you concerned about is going to be violent, or that would be they're concerned about safety at this point?
I want everyone to be safe, and I just would like to give everyone a hug right now, to be honest with you.
Thanks, everyone.
Would you consider doing that? To visit and to give everyone a hug?
I would love to.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go. Okay, let's go.